Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Greater Barrington Chamber of Commerce's 2022 Annual Dinner. My name is David Ranson. I'm a financial advisor at the Barrington branch of Edward Jones Investments. I've been a Chamber member since 2001, and tonight, again, it's my pleasure and privilege to be your Master of Ceremonies. It's customary that the Chamber start its meetings with a flag salute, so we're going to start off tonight with a flag salute by bringing up the Citizen of the Year from 1990, Joel Sherburne, to lead us. Joel.
Good evening. Would you all stand, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Carry on. You're wonderful.
The Chamber's annual dinner traditionally is held this time of year in November. And so again this year, Veterans Day is right around the corner next week. So I'd like to kind of continue the patriotic part of the program by asking anyone in the room who's a veteran or has a family member that's currently serving in the armed services to stand and let us acknowledge. Thank you to all, and God bless America. So again, welcome, and again, thanks for coming. I want to read the mission statement of the Barrington Chamber. If you don't know what it is, I wrote it down here so I wouldn't miss it. The mission of the Barrington Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Barrington Chamber of Commerce, is to form a voluntary partnership of business and professional people, working together to advance the economic and social growth and well-being of its members and the community. That's what we're doing tonight. So again, welcome. Tonight is the first night that we've met as a group, a chamber, to celebrate the year and ourselves since November 2019. With COVID and the pandemic at play, the 2020 and 2021 meeting and awards were suspended. So as I look around the room tonight, it's kind of like putting on an old shoe, a comfortable shoe. I see familiar faces and friends and chamber members, and it's allowing us to continue the tradition of recognizing the Business Leader and Citizen of the Year for 2022. A little history on that is that the town of Barrington had been naming Citizens of the Year going back to 1990. Just Joel's the first one. In 2000, they approached the chamber and asked us to kind of continue to take over and name the Citizen of the Year. And since then, we've made it part of our tradition and practice to celebrate the Business Leader of the Year award along with the Citizen of the Year at our annual dinner. So it's a nice night to do that. And I thought it'd be a good way to start off the program by, again, just for the first time, recognizing with a round of applause this year's winners. Business Leader of the Year, Mike Geyer of Audio Events, and Jim and Becky Califf on Citizen of the Year. after dinner, but I wanted to just say, this is your night, sit back and enjoy it, and we're going to get started. Dinners like this, events like this can't be done, of course, without a sponsorship. So I want to next invite you to look at the programs and see them and have a chance to go over the sponsorship for tonight's event. This evening, really the dinner is being underwritten by First Seacoast Bank. It's a great bank, it's a community bank, it's a longtime member of the Chamber, and they're here again supporting the Greater Barrington Chamber of Commerce. Katie Buick has her teammates with her at one of the back tables there. We just want to thank you for underwriting this event tonight. Our gold sponsor tonight is Unified Builders. Dwayne and Heather Watson are here, and they're our gold sponsor tonight. We want to thank and recognize them. Stand up because we don't, so we can see you. Thanks a lot. You know, Dwayne and Heather, they've also stepped up in the chamber this year with the tricentennial events going on. They were an important sponsor for helping some of the events go through, so we really appreciate you guys coming tonight and helping out the tricentennial celebration as well, so thank you very much. I want to talk next about our premier sponsors that are also recognized in the program. Eastern Propane is the first one. Eastern Propane is a longtime chamber member. They're one of the kind of companies here at the chamber that have a largesse to not just support this chamber, but many chambers in the region. And we really appreciate them helping out as sponsors tonight. What can I say about Eastern Propane? When Karen and I, my wife, lived in Rochester, we used Eastern Propane. We moved to Barrington, what are we going to change? We used the Eastern Propane, right? It's good service, good product, and that's our endorsement for them. Nate and Kat Woods are here representing Eastern. They're at the table. Why don't you... The next premier sponsor helping tonight, George Califf Fine Foods. Isn't that interesting? So as a premier sponsor, I know that Lynn Murphy, who's here representing them, could probably come over, talk, take over the mic, and probably talk from now through dinner about everything that went on, getting to know Jim and Becky as they kind of reached out and took the baton from Jim and Becky and are now running the local fine foods store here in town, but we don't have time to let them do that. But we will say this about it. It's November. If anyone in the room hasn't had one of their fresh turkeys for Thanksgiving, I can highly recommend it. You won't be disappointed. So it's time for pre-order of the Thanksgiving turkeys at George Califf's Fine Foods. Thanks, Lynn. Our dinner sponsor tonight, and host really, is Tina and John Myrino from Rochester Country Club. We're using your space. We appreciate it. Literally could not do these dinners without them, so thank you, Tina and John. And again, the entertainment, we enjoyed the music of the Sharp Brothers, Adam and Mike. They've helped us out a lot in these chamber dinners over the years, and we appreciate them again being here tonight. They're going to hang around, give us some music through dinner, and then after the program's over, they're going to hang around and maybe do one more set. So we look forward to hearing Adam and Mike's music. They have their own kind of beat to the community, rocking to the community, which if you haven't figured out is our theme tonight. Chamber and review, that's next. So I want to invite up now our chairperson currently with the chamber, Scott Villeneuve. Just a couple things about Scott. He's obviously our chairperson of the chamber. He's going to be doing double duty tonight because he's taking care of the technology that's going to record this program so that we can have a nice memento for our award members after it's over. Also, he's been a busy boy this year at Big Hit Media. He's also helped out with our Tricentennial Committee. Some of you who attended the parade may have saw him doing some of the announcements there. He's helped out a lot with the Tricentennial Committee, and I'll turn it over to you, Scott, now for the chamber event.
Thanks, Dave. So I direct your attention over to the screen here, or it's probably better looking than I am, so thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. We are the Greater Barrington Chamber of Commerce, and that term greater occurred to me earlier. It is a geographic term because we have members from Rochester and Madbury and Lee and so forth. But I was thinking of that word greater, and I thought, well, what makes us greater than our people? Our people make us great. And Mike, Jim, and Becky, you guys are great. And we have a lot of great people here. David is going to talk a bit about the alumni, but so much, and I know you know this, but it's events like this when we actually recognize people like Tina and John, who give so much of their time and energy and the facility here and so forth. So the people behind the scenes, too many to name right now, but you know who you are. Thank you for what you do. Thank you to our sponsors. You guys are great. Back in, let's say, January, February, at our monthly board of directors meetings, we put out a sort of, what is this year going to look like? And we know from past years what the year's going to look like, but we know we have the Peeper race. We know we always do the golf tournament. This year is the 29th annual golf tournament. Wow. It was the 27th annual Peeper race. The scholarship dinner, which the Peeper race, proceeds from the Peeper race go to the scholarship dinner and the scholarship awards. The annual dinner, which we're at, and it's the citizen and typically business leader of the year, but this year it's the citizens, which is terrific. And partly we missed a couple years there, so that's cool. And then a favorite, the Barrington Soiree and the tree lighting, which if you haven't been, you must go this year. It's so fun. And to add a little twist, once again, it was the 300th birthday of Barrington. So that presented a challenge for us because, sure, we're the Chamber of Commerce, but why don't we join forces with the 300th? And so I went over and kind of was the liaison for the 300th committee, and it's been so fun. We've done some really, really good events, the parade, the spooky walk, fireworks, and there's still some stuff coming up, which is great. One of the things that we've done early on in the years, we added 3 new board members in February, and then we added another 2 more Wednesday of this week, which is fantastic. So Derek Small, I don't know, he's sitting at table 11 over here. You might know him from the Wildlife Encounters Ecology Center. Super guy. He brings in really cute animals to our show and tell events, and he's had some business after hours events where we've met foxes and various other critters that are incredible. So we're very grateful. He's also the vice chair of the board of directors. Roy Fairbanks, who I'm sure you've seen his publishing expertise in the Great Bay Coffee News. Roy's been with the chamber before and just has amazing insights, tons of experience, and he's our secretary. Joanne Moore, tireless lady who owns the New and Again thrift shop next to Haji's Barbershop, and she's fantastic. Put together so much of the dinner celebrating our scholarship winners. And we just added Mark Shaner, who owns DeNovo Insurance, great guy, and Robert Grumbles, who is affiliated and on the board of Major Waldron Sportsman Association and owns a IT security firm, which is pretty cool. So we hold every month a member meeting. So anyone who's a member of the Chamber of Commerce is able to come to our meetings. They're hosted at Nipple Lake. When it's golf season, we have breakfast, which are amazing. So $10 gets you in for breakfast, and basically a time of talking with local business owners, of making connections, and there are some terrific connections to make at these meetings. We have sponsors for each meeting, upcoming announcements, sponsorship opportunities for things like the golf tournament or the race. Chef Julio is always there with some awesome food. Breakfast is amazing. Lunch is even more amazing. Now that it's a little cool, even though there are golfers out, especially on days like today, we have lunch meetings, but those are the first Wednesday of the month. And they have been increasing in attendance and popularity, so we're really psyched about that. There's a couple pictures from the last couple of them. So in May, we had the peeper race. Who here ran in the peeper race? All right. That's a 5K race. It started and ended at Barrington Elementary School. And again, this is the primary fundraiser for our scholarship dinner. And for a very small, comparatively for a small chamber, we raised almost $4,000 to give to 5 students. And you'll see some pictures in a second here. So that's our peeper, Cindy Fairbanks, who tried to get out of wearing the suit this year, and we were like, no, you're wearing it. And so much fun. Everybody just loved it. He looks like he might have been the winner. I don't remember, but he looks fast. I know these guys were division winners because one of them's my next door neighbor. And again, thanks to all of the sponsors that underwrote this, that came out, TurboCam, Dia Frechard, etc. I mean, this is truly a community effort, and 27 years. Wow, this is pretty awesome. So, not chronologically, but the scholarship dinner was the child of that race, headed up by our own Derek and somebody help me out, Ray Bisson. Who both of these guys put in so much time to pull off the race, and Joanne Moore, like I said, with the dinner. It was held right here, so much fun. These were our winners, or are our winners for 2022, and some families are represented here, proud families. In June, we had our 29th annual golf tournament, and we had a tremendous showing. This guy's fearless, seriously. He just comes right alongside you. It's amazing.
Did you see it though?
It was a bit of a rainy day. This was 3 members of my foursome, and we played in the rain, and it was a lot of fun. Ryan McKenzie on a wet par 3, I'm sure. And again, I included this slide in here because just the support that we have from community businesses is tremendous. So this was an awesome event. If you haven't played, afterwards we have a great lunch and prizes and all kinds of good stuff. Wow, sponsored by Audio Events. Jeez, Mike, the guy never stops. We have fantastic sponsors, and Eastern Propane, Maria Shoot, Remax, and more. I didn't put everybody in here, but you get the idea. Another thing that has resurged in the post-COVID world are these business after-hours events. Any business that's a chamber member can do it. Many of you in this room have hosted them. This is some photos of one that Rich Hillo in Rochester did. It was a fantastic one. The cornhole was wonderful. Alex Marquignon, I think I pronounced that correctly, the chiropractor from Middleton Chiropractic. There's Rich. This was a fantastic one. It was a combination of Maria Shute and George Kayla Fine Foods. And, you know, again, just the time to get together, socialize, make connections, and have some fun and some food, which was delicious. The pulled pork was yummy. You also get an opportunity to do a 5, 6, 7, 8 minute brief on your business, what makes you different, what challenges you have, that sort of thing. We're pet friendly. This is Romeo. I even hosted one of these events, which was pretty cool. So we had a good time. Now that is the year so far, and what is ahead of us for the Barrington Chamber. And this is, of course, the 300 with the fireworks and so forth. There's a lot of good stuff coming up in Barrington. But we've got the soiree coming up. Last year, we were a little late to the party, so we had a Charlie Brown tree. No, I'm only kidding. We had a pretty good sized tree. This year, it's going to be even bigger and better, and our own Maria Shute is on top of that. We are going to have cider and table and all kinds of good stuff. Last year, Derek was kind enough to bring some sheep along, which was a big hit with the kids and the adults. Dave Ranson and Edward Jones had this fabulous horse-drawn carriage to get people from here to there, and it was terrific. So, from what I have heard from past board members, David, of course, Mike Geyer preceded me as chairman. Things are really on an upswing in attendance. I don't know if people are just cooped up for so long during COVID. Whatever the reason, it's a good thing. And one thing that wasn't so good, but her legacy has affected us all, is Linda Sunderland. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Linda. For those of you who don't know, Linda was one of the original members and founders, really, of the Chamber of Commerce. She passed this year. And she was tireless, I mean tireless, in her work with the Chamber. A wonderful person she was quiet, but her presence was known. Just a tremendous lady. One of Tina's best friends, if not her bestest friend. And Tina actually joked, she said, all I have are pictures of us drinking together. I don't want people to think it. I said, don't worry about it. But I mean, just look at her involvement. This was she ran the paper, right? But a lovely lady, and her husband Jim is a prince of a guy, a tremendous family, and she will be sorely missed. This was one of our themed golf tournaments, which I hope we go back to because those were fun. And a little farewell from Linda. Thank you folks very much.
That was a great job. It was a great review. Thanks a lot, Scott. Your leadership kind of with the chamber coming out of the COVID lull was really appreciated, and we're looking forward to new and exciting things as 2023 is around the corner. My favorite part of the program is right now I'm going to be doing my annual look back and kind of reinforcing the traditions we have here at the Chamber by acknowledging the people in the past who have won the awards we're doing again tonight. So I'm here to talk to you about past members of Citizens of the Year and Business Leader of the Year. I'm going to do it in chronological order and take that mental trip with us as I name the year, kind of think back what you were doing, because we're going to go back, a ways and come back up to present day. So I'm going to start with, and what I'd like to do is just whoever I say, just please stand up. We'll give them a quick hand after we talk to them. So again, Citizen of the Year started in 1990. Joel Sherburne, What can you say about Joel Sherburne? It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Joel Sherburne. For those of you that don't know, he's the voice of Caliph Country Store for years. He does a Volunteer of the Year through his own efforts every year, acknowledging some of the volunteers around town. Talk about someone who's rocking to the tune of the community. It's Joel Sherburne. He's very much involved in the early days of the EMT in school, here in town. He was the Grand Marshal, rightfully so, of the Tricentennial Parade. 65 years now working at Caliph Country Store Celebration. So again, Joel Sherburne. I forgot President of the Historical Society. I can keep going. Gotta move on. Let's jump up 10 years. So where were you in 2000? 10 years, calendar year 2000. It's the first Business Leader of the Year. And it's Diane St. Jean, and Diane St. Jean Design at the time was named the Business Leader of the Year for her work. All chambers need people in the early days, particularly that are worker bees, that help organize the chamber, get it started, start some of the traditions. And that's kind of what I think Diane was doing. It predates my time with the chamber by a little bit, but let's ask her to stand. Recently retired as our local school librarian. Another thing about Diane, and happily we've co-opted her, the Tricentennial Committee has co-opted her to help put together a commemorative book that's going to be kind of a keepsake for the Tricentennial. So Diane St. Jean is still, again, singing the tune of the community, helping us with that Tricentennial book. Thank you, Diane. 2002, where were you? Okay, Business Leader of the Year that year, Tina and John Maiorino. Okay, Barrington Golf Club. So that was the year. Why we did it then, we could do it almost every year, give it to them, but why we did it that year is that was the year Barrington went from 9 holes to 18 holes. That was a big deal for a golf club to go from 9 to 18. They did that. They're obviously committed to that sport and that recreation. And as you know, they're also now owners of this Rochester Country Club, but they're our hosts tonight. So again, thank you, Tina and John and Vicky too. 2003, the next year. Then it was Federal Savings Bank, now it's First Seacoast Bank, was honored in 2003 for their support. Again, they're one of the larger businesses in town that have the wherewithal to not just support the Barrington Chamber, but chambers all around the region, and we honored them that year for their support. It continues today with Katie Buitt and her team from the Barrington branch, again, attending and being in attendance, so thank you so much. First Seacoast Bank. Get up, come on, get up. All right, we're 2005 now, we're getting a little bit closer. 2005, the Chamber honored Business Leader of the Year, Turbo Cam and Marion Nerona. Now, TurboChem, what can you say about that? Corporate citizen, no doubt, big supporter of our town. They were the Tricentennial sponsor of the parade this year in July. For those of you that know Marion and Susan, his wife, they're, the philanthropy goes a lot further than just the town of Barrington. They're special people. They're very much involved with causes that they are concerned about really all around the world. And so here, we just say this about it: keep building buildings, keep giving us jobs, keep growing. Barrington and TurboCam has been a great connection. Here representing TurboCam today is Steve and Shelley Robinson in the back. 2008, Stanley Bowditch. Okay, Stanley was Citizen of the Year that year. Stanley has long been a helper and a volunteer and a coordinator with the Barrington Food Pantry, and Stan was recognized that year in 2008. Stan, could you please stand? Now, let's talk about singing to the tune of the community. Stan certainly has been doing that. He's from a family that's very musical that way too. His sister, who could not be here, Stephanie Dimke, she was named, again, same family, sister, Citizen of the Year in 2013. She's the lady that, if you know anything about Barrington or have ever driven through it, coordinated the whole thing about putting the flags along Route 9, and she, again, a great person and great family. So, Stan, I don't know, you guys used to go Halloweening together. You should make her come to the dinner, with you too. Right, these kids. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so let's go. That was 2008, 2010. Okay. Business Leader of the Year. David Ranson, Edward Jones. This gives me a chance publicly to just tell you the real story behind that, okay? My wife, Karen Joy, has been supporting me since the beginning, okay? And it gives me a chance to publicly thank her for all her support and help with Edward Jones. She was there from the beginning. It's rough starting a business from scratch, all the ups and downs you can imagine go on. But Karen has been there. She's the fingers and the hands behind the soiree, helps me with client appreciation time, and just really this year, what a worker on the Tricentennial Committee. She's just worked around. What a Easter. I want to go on just a little bit. She was involved in helping out with the license plates, the banners in town, Spooky Walk, History Day. She was a big organizer on that, so she's really gone above and beyond this year. We really appreciate you, Karen. Thank you. All right, 2013, we're getting closer, and dinner's almost coming, so be patient. Jim Sunderland, J.J. Sunderland Company in construction. Jim, again, with Linda, really, they're chamber royalty. They've been here since the beginning. Jim has been involved with the golf tournament, been involved with helping the chamber in so many ways over the years, making things like this podium that I'm standing behind for the chamber, and another one over in the Nippo place. He's got that skill set that I have to say I am envious of. That gene passed me, but he's a finished carpenter. Knows how to do things with his hands. Can really get things done around the house, and he's even got in today's baskets that we're raffling off some cheese board, cutting boards that he made custom. So let's give Jim a hand, please. A couple other sidebar things I just thought of Jim I want to say, okay? He's on the committee that's planned this dinner, and thank goodness, I'm the only guy besides Jim. The rest of them are women, so if he wouldn't be there, it would have been kind of awkward. I'm just so glad I have somebody look across the table too, and if I want to kick the dirt, we can kick the dirt and say some things, it's good. And I really appreciate it. The other thing, Jim, about that committee is thank God that you found Linda's book, okay? They kept track of all the past meetings because we needed it. Would have been lost without it, so thanks again, Jim. All right, 2014 Business Leader of the Year. It's Ron St. Jean. So what a couple, Ron St. Jean and Diane St. Jean. Once again, an early member, goes all the way back to the beginning of the chamber. He did the portraits this year of our award winners in the lobby there if you haven't seen them. He's been a supporter of the chamber for a long time. This year he again allowed us to kind of co-op his talents and get him to be basically the official photographer of the Tricentennial. So all year Ron's been going around to all the events gathering these things. Here's my pitch for next week. Again, he and Diane singing a duet, Remember Tune of the Community, putting this commemorative book together for us, is going to be available for pre-orders next week, okay, at the town voting. If you've just come out of a coma, there's an election next week. And it's Tuesday. And at that election, we're going to have a table, the Tricentennial Committee, taking pre-orders. The book's going to be $35. There's a side bet between community members how many we're going to be able to pre-sell that day. So give us some, give us a chance to get off to a good start selling these books. They're going to be a great commemorative item and a keepsake for the town of Barrington. So the other thing about Ron I want to mention real quick is, if you don't know, he's our town moderator. Perfect for that position, I'll tell you. His demeanor, his skill set with speaking to people and temperament, very good. So let's hear it again for Ron Sanders. 2015.
Nice time.
Citizen of the Year.
So where'd it go?
Our fire chief, Rick Walker, okay? What I remember about Rick Walker, and it's kind of going to be the same thing tonight with Jim, is that Rick is a classic guy who grew up in Barrington, became an adult, and then here as an adult serving the town as fire chief. Say? Okay. Anyway, one of the traditions that happens with the Citizen of the Year is I go over and approach the people in person and tell them that they just won the Citizen of the Year, and I give them a list of the people that had won it in the past, going back to 1990. Well, Rick knew everybody. I mean, he grew up in town. Every name on it, he knew he had a personal relationship with them. So that's, to me, is a special kind of a scenario when you give these awards out. And Rick fit that bill. So his wife Wanda's helping us out also this year on the Tricentennial Committee. The thing about Wanda and Becky, they've been a big help to us. I don't know what it is with women and money. It's unbelievable. We're helping. We're selling things. We have to get the money in, money out, and now we're doing these things where you have to have a little card. You stick things in. It's like no problem. Money in, money out. The boom, 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 up. Check right here. They got it. It's unbelievable. So Wanda and Becky have been really great helping us sell our swag this year. And again, thank you, Rick, for your service to the town. Last one, 2019, just last year, Cornerstone, or the last time we met, I should say. Jennifer Manning is here representing Cornerstone V&A. Could you stand, Jennifer? So, Cornerstone V&A, again, really appreciate it. They are, again, a company that has the largest, not just to support our chamber, but chambers all around the region. Obviously, the healthcare support that they give to the community is so appreciated and so well needed. We really appreciate Cornerstone V&A. So thank you very much, all the award winners. All right, it's almost dinner time. We thought we'd, before that, have an opening prayer. So I want to call up someone that's near and dear to us, to the committee anyway. She's Suzanne McNeil. She's going to give our opening prayer. I want to tell you a little bit about Suzanne. She's coming up. Longtime town employee, Suzanne McNeil, key member of the committee that plans this dinner every year. Secretary to the Barrington Historical Society. And it's interesting about that. I want to give her a little sidebar, so hang tight. So anyway, if you've ever been to a historical society meeting and you listen to her give the report from the last meeting, I don't know what it is. I'm not from New England, but it's got this cadence, this New England cadence. And you start listening to it, and it's almost like poetry. She's reading, and it's the secretary's report of the last meeting, but she has this style and about it. She does it. I just want to tell you about that. And she's a thespian too, because as part of the Tricentennial Committee, she portrayed, it was Bertha Hayes, and if anyone been to the tour and saw her do it, she was really on her game that night and did a great job. So we really appreciate the help she's given the chamber. And again, dinner's about to be served, but we want to have an opening prayer, so I'll turn it over to Suzanne.
Thank you. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we are thankful for this time of joy and celebration. We are thankful for the many blessings that our local community has, including the citizens that we honor tonight. Place in our hearts the desire to make a difference in our community, in our town. We are grateful for friends, family, and community members. We are thankful for the gift of music in our lives. Music makes people kinder and gentler. Music has an ability to speak to our hearts and minds. Music prints indelibly on one's soul the text it carries. We ask you to bless this feast and everyone present. Amen.
Of course, I'd like to acknowledge and let's thank the group here at Rochester Country Club. That was some kind of feat. I'd also like, before we get into the first award, acknowledge another person who's been a friend of the Chamber for a long time to help her out again this year. She designed a program that you're looking at today. It's Susan Sedley from Design on a Dime Designers. Very talented woman. A sidebar on her is that the Tri-Centennial Committee tapped her again. We always like to use local people, and if you lived in Barrington and received in the late spring a little flyer that told you all about the Tri-Centennial with the horses on the front, that was Susan Sedley's handiwork, and it helped spread the word for the Tri-Centennial. Susan, thank you again for that. She was awesome with the deadline. I was like the contact, and I was all over her white on rice, and she was still very calm, cool, got out in time. We got the thing out, so really appreciate Susan Sedley.
Susan,
She's with, by the way, Brian Sedley, her husband, who some of you know, the chamber members probably know that he did his time as chamber chair back in the day, and Susan had independent conversations with me over the last couple of months, and they were lamenting or telling me that they were heading into a new phase of their life. They have emptied the empty nest syndrome. Both of their children, boy and a girl, are now out of the house and they're empty nesters. I would like to characterize kind of their conversation with me. This first is Susan. This is Brian. All right. So anyway, that was kind of interesting talking to them about their newfound situation in life. Also want to acknowledge again on the back, we said it before, but I think it's worth noting, Ron St. Jean did the portraits that are up there and the portraits in the hall, so thank you, Ron. Okay, contributing sponsors, they're also in your program. I want to list them off for you. Before I do, I want to acknowledge another Barrington kind of well-known company, Christmas Dove, Florist of Christmas Dove. They complimentary provided the boutonnieres and the corsage for our winners today. So if you ever need flowers, it's Florist of Christmas Dove. Please consider them Barrington staples. Thank you. Want to go to contributing sponsors next. It's in the inside cover. I'll just read them from the bottom. Vanessa and Philip Riley, she's with us on our committee as well, but thank you for contributing. Suzanne and Paul McNeil, thank you. Nico Garfay, thank you. New and again, a thrift shop for charity, that's Joanne Moore, thank you. JSB Trucking, Jeff and Katie Buick, that's their side thing, Jeff's side thing, I should say. Thank you. Jim and Linda Sunderland, JJ Sunderland Construction, they kicked in. Generator Connection, Wayne Noyes, if he was here, he would say, don't be left in the dark. David Ranston, Karen and I kicked in. Cornerstone V&A, thank you again for your support, they kicked in. And lastly, Caleb's Country Store, the original one, so they're a sponsor tonight too. Maria Shute also, I'm sorry, she's there too. Remax on the Move, Sorry, Maria, I passed over that. So now we are at the award time. First one. It didn't take me long to think back to be reminded why Mike Geyer is going to be named Business Leader of the Year. I just had to think back to last Saturday. Last Saturday was the Spooky Walk. It was a Tricentennial sponsored and Nippo Lake sponsored event here. And talking to some of the people that were really involved in organizing, again, we're talking about small town America, Barrington, but someone from the rec department said that there were 2,000 people that showed up and walked through that event last Saturday night in Barrington. I couldn't believe it. When I got there, the cars were just backed up everywhere, parking was crazy. And of course, Mike was there. He had been there the day before, setting up the lights, making sure that that trail was safe, well lit, had the atmosphere for the environment. And it just reminded me of a guy who is, stepping up and filling the need of the community and up to the challenge to pull it off. It's not easy. I've been there. A number of people here in the room have been there to be a chair of the board of the chamber and make sure that things are going well for the chamber and the small kind of a chamber atmosphere that we have. People have needs, they want their membership dues to be valuable, and it's always a challenge to make sure that we get through our year calendar and have all these events come off and be successful. Think of that, doing it right when it's coincided with COVID. And that's kind of the lot that Mike found himself into, taking over the chamber back in the day. And it's a credit to him, really, to his professionalism, to his stick-to-itiveness, to his can-do attitude and creativity, that he kind of took the chamber and did the rebranding that he did. So to help fill in more details about Mike tonight is a woman we all know. And really, I think she's probably responsible more than anyone for actually recruiting Mike to come into the chamber. So Tina Myrene is going to come up and give us details about our business.
Welcome, everybody. It's a little inside joke. The first, the first time that Mike found out that he was going to receive this award, I got a text, and it said, "I'll take my dinner to go." And last night's text was, "I'm positive." Now, my daughters happen to be really nice and say to me, I know he's kidding, because he didn't say he tested positive. He just said he was positive. So anyway, good evening, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to be talking to you about the 2022 Greater Barrington Chamber of Commerce Business Leader of the Year, Mike Geyer of Audio Events. Linda and I always said that when you got Business Leader of the Year, we would do this speech as a tag team. Unfortunately, she's not here to rein me in, so here it goes. 3 days before the 2010 annual dinner, Linda and I met Mike. The theme that year was, "You can't get there from here," as it was the year of E11 when many of the street names, numbers changed, and Barrington and the town hall was struggling with residents who were very upset. Many of you may or may not know that many years ago, the annual dinner committee would be the entertainment for the evening. Just think about it, it's kind of hard to think about, but I know it sounds hard to believe, but yes, this committee was not beyond getting up and making fools of themselves, including me. We decided we were going to change the words to some songs such as "Breaking Up is Hard to Do," "Return to Sender," "Don't Worry, Be Happy," and to do a few skits about the streets that no longer were with us and the ones that were newly born. Brian Sedley made an amazing Baby New Year, and we all learned that Barrington now had a Serenity Way. So in my infinite wisdom, I thought I could pull the music together so that we could sing the words that we had written and make a phone ring on cue. It didn't take me long to realize that I was in way over my head and it was getting down to the wire. 3 days. Susan Settley said that there was a DJ, Mike Geyer, that had just moved into town, and he had helped her with the annual Chamber Community Expo a few weeks prior. So I called Mike, explained my situation, which of course I am sure he was thinking something like, this woman is nuts. But he dropped everything he was doing to help pull together the event. When he realized that not even doing the music wasn't going to solve the problem we created, as none of us had any experience with AV equipment, he came to the event with while his girlfriend, now wife Lynn, was lying in the hospital after breaking her leg in a riding accident. Now let's rewind and go back a few years. When Mike was in high school. What? He played the saxophone and the keyboard, was in the school and jazz band and drama club where he performed and did the lighting and sound for the performances. He loved vinyl records and was drawn to music. His father and stepfather were both DJs. However, he was not a good student. He wouldn't do his homework, as he thought it was totally unnecessary, especially in math. Because of his stubbornness, he would have to write an essay at the end of the year to get a passing grade, and this happened more than once. His mom, Kelly, remembers Mike telling a story about a young punk kid that worked with him while he was managing Eldridge Hardware in Kittery, who also liked music and hated math. Mike told him that math was an important part of music, so he needed to study. And then his first thought as it was coming out of his mouth was, I can't believe I just said that. Mike graduated from Newmarket High School and moved several times until he finally landed in Barrington in 2010. He worked as a manager at Sherman-Williams and Eldridge Hardware and started his DJ business in 2008, which he did when he wasn't working his full-time job. He built his own recording studio at his home after researching how to do it. I think that makes him a YouTube certified expert in recording studios, but I'm not really sure. At one wedding that he did, the grandparents were not able to attend, so during the first dance, he interjected a message from them to the bride and groom. One of his outside of the box moments. Words used to describe Michael from his clients are wow, attention to detail, charismatic, fantastic, provides amazing memories, passion for what he does, professional, hardworking, goes above and beyond. Mike brings a whole new meaning to go big or go home. Ask anyone who went to that spooky walk last week. So now we're going to skip to 2015. On August 15th, I had the honor and pleasure of marrying Lynn and Mike in Strawberry Bank in Portsmouth. Mike and Lynn hired another DJ, which I am sure was killing Mike. And well, I guess there is the story that goes along with a mix-up on their first dance. And even though I was there, I was totally unaware. I am not sure about the details, but maybe something about a prank. I'm not definitely sure, but. In 2018, Cheryl Andrews, who is here tonight, of Great Waters Music Festival in Wolfboro, was looking for an audio-video technician and found Mike on Google. Now you have to admit, don't we all love Google? We can find anything there. She said he was fun, generous, conscientious, and trustworthy. So in 2019, he did all the AV for their summer season. Cheryl remembered one show that they had painstakingly prepared for under direction from the performing group. When the performing group arrived, the group changed the whole floor plan. In Cheryl's words, it turned into a shit show. There was no equipment that they wanted, the volunteers didn't show up, but between the two of them, they pulled it off. She couldn't believe how calm he remained, how he thought outside the box, and even though everything was a hot mess, they got it done. She commented, he's a small business, and most of the time a one-man show, and he does an impeccable job. I won't work with anyone else. Now back to the chamber. Mike was approached by the chamber several times to serve as a board member, which he politely turned down, until at one luncheon meeting, I think he thinks Linda and I conned him, he did run and, of course, won. He was the vice chair and then became the chairperson in October of 2019. We had a business after hours at the new chamber office in January of 2020, where Mike served his infamous mac and cheese. He brought AV equipment to our monthly meetings, bringing information and presentations to a whole new level. And then COVID hit. Mike went to live streaming monthly member interviews and Zoom meetings to help us all stay connected. Then, in Mike fashion, he organized a one-man family parade for Barrington to collect donations for End 68 Hours of Hunger and the Barrington Food Pantry. Pregnant Lynn drove the truck with Molly in tow and Mike on the trailer playing music. In 2 days, they traveled 75 miles to 25 different neighborhoods, played 8 hours of music, collected 666 pounds of food, and raised $1,124. And the fact that Mike even remembered every one of those details when he was talking to me amazed me. Some of the events Mike has been involved in is the Peeper Race, Sweetheart Skate, Retro Night, End of School Parade at the ECLC, the PTO Movie Night, Polar Express, and the Chamber Golf Tournament, and is now the technical director for the school board meetings. Now, after hearing some of all of these amazing things that Michael has done, I have to share with you something. Michael says, I'm sorry, he hates people. Now, I think hate is a very harsh word, so I personally dislikes immensely. Phil and Cheryl call him an extroverted introvert. Lynn calls him a procrastinating perfectionist. An amazing husband and father. She says Mike likes his quiet time more than interacting with people, and he loves spending time alone. Mike says, I do something that needs to be done without ever making it an impact on my memory. It may not impact you, Mike, but it does our community and the chamber. You love and feel your community, no matter what you say. You may have moved a lot, but now you have put down your roots in Barrington and continue to grow deeper with each passing year. Michael, I call you my friend. Your mom and I don't think you dislike people immensely. Well, maybe some people. You have a beautiful heart and you fill so many people's lives with wonderful, funny, incredible memories. You are there to support everyone and do whatever it takes to get the job done. You are by far one of the most amazing people I know. As Cheryl Andrews so eloquently stated, we are blessed that Lynn supports you, so you can do all the wonderful things that you do for so many. And for Lynn, we thank you. This past Thursday, when I was reading my daily guidepost, the woman that was writing that day, Patricia Lorenz, wrote that she believes we only need 5 things to be happy. Number 1, someone to love. Michael, you have a beautiful family and so many friends. Number 2, something to do. Michael, remember to-do lists never end. Number 3, something to hope for. Michael, there are so many things that I could mention here, but I thought maybe becoming a better golfer might be something you could hope for. Number 4, something to believe in, that there are more kind people than not. And number 5, something to laugh about, like your corny dad pun jokes. Watching you over the last 12 years, get married to Lynn, who is an amazing woman in her own right, grow your business to where you are now, more behind the scenes, where you want to be, have 2 beautiful children, Molly and Cleo, and support the Barrington community and chamber has been an absolute pleasure. Linda and I thank you for being our friend. And most of all, Michael, we hope you're happy.
Who's this Michael guy?
Well, one might give you Mike, the next year, Michael. And Michael, we'd like to now invite you up here for your award and to say a few words.
Oh boy. So,
Mike Geyer.
man, I'm either the wrong person or you're the wrong audience. After David went through all of the other business leaders, some of who are in here tonight, like Ron, who's taking my picture, I feel like we should be playing limbo, like the bar's been lowered just a bit. Anyways, thank you all for coming. I am honored to be standing up here tonight. And I prefer to be in the very back corner over there with table 12, running the AV, which I still am, but congratulations, Jim and Becky, Citizen Leaders of the Year. As a DJ and MC, I don't like being in the spotlight, but rather directing that spotlight. So I don't feel like I belong in the same room as a caliph, honestly. So I'll, aside from all of you that I bribed here with free meals, I know the rest of you are here for them, so I'll try to keep this brief. First,
Here for you.
Despite having many hours on a microphone and public speaking, I'm more anxious tonight than I've been since giving the best man toast at Phil and Cheryl's wedding. And I must have done a pretty crappy job because they even asked me to do it again. Now, Tina's wrecked my whole speech because she's touched upon everything.
Killed it.
She killed it, yeah. Susan, it was mentioned that you gave me the first phone call back in 2010 to get me involved with the expo. Thank you. Of course, Tina, we just heard from you. Thank you very much. Linda Sunderland, I know I speak for everybody here that knew Linda when I say that we miss her and we do wish that she was here with us. Tina and Linda, as Tina mentioned, were the driving force behind me getting a little bit more involved with the chamber. First, it started by bribing me with a good time and great company to join their golf tournament committee. And then through spectacular manipulation and extreme forcefulness in kind, if you will, they had me join the board of directors. Now, I think back in 2018 when they did that, they campaigned on my behalf to make sure that it was tipped in my favor so that I joined. I'm so lost. I'm sorry. Tina and Linda are the kindest people you will ever meet. So kind, it's intimidating. So that board member election, it had to have been voter intimidation. I'm just saying. I want to, it's been mentioned in my time on the chamber, I did a lot during COVID and the pandemic, but I was just the chair. There were 8 other members. I do want to recognize all of those members tonight. Some are in here, some are not. But that's Ray Bisson, Carlin Pouliot, Lisa Nadeau, Joellen Gallant, Peter Dealey, Maria Shute, Cindy Fairbanks, and Wendy Cloutier. They all worked tirelessly during a pandemic to try to keep the chamber relevant in what had become a very virtual time. So they deserve a round of applause. I also want to thank Scott and the current board. I know there's some leftover challenges from my time on the board. I wish I could have left the chamber in a better position, and I wish I could have done more. So thank you to the current board. We heard about the Barrington one-man parade dance party. for End 68 Hours of Hunger. T and I only remembered those numbers because I looked them up for when I posted them. But again, this wasn't just me. As you heard, my wife, who was 9 months pregnant, drove the truck. My daughter Molly was in the back seat, bored out of her mind. And it was just something during a time that my business had suffered that I could just make myself feel useful and relevant. You know, there was one family down on Chrissy Circle, which is down, you know, off of Smoke Street by the dump. They had decorated the driveway and sidewalks, chalk, wrote, you know, music is for the soul, and thank you. It was amazing, and that's a moment that I will always remember. I need to thank my wife, Lynn, my daughters, Molly and Chloe. I miss a lot of family events. As you've heard, Lynn supports you know, my career and what I do. I miss T-ball games, birthday parties, dance recitals, and all kinds of other events that Lynn has to deal. What?
I coughed.
Oh. Thought I was being corrected there. Then she has to go solo with the 2 kids, and we all, you know, any of us that have kids know that it's a difficult job raising kids. And if you ask my wife which kid is the most difficult, she will tell you that it's her mother-in-law's kid. I want to thank my mom, who's here. You know, she taught me about work ethic, effort, and how to be an independent person. Thank you, Phil, for being the only real father figure I ever had. And teaching me that success isn't dependent upon a formal education, but your ability to learn and work your ass off. Thank you to my brothers Alex and Daniel. Daniel didn't stand up earlier, but I admire both of them. They have served our country in the U.S. Navy. Alex, thank you for helping me on those jobs. I need an extra set of hands, and for being our mom's favorite child and lowering the bar for me. Thank you to my mother-in-law Agnes and sister-in-laws Tracy and Susan. They've stepped in to watch our kids when Lynn and I have to work. Thank you to my friends Rachel and Matt, who are here tonight. You know, our schedules never seem to align because I work a lot of weekends, so it only seems to align on Super Bowl Sunday. I gotta thank Curious George because he keeps my daughters occupied when I have to get my work done. Thank you to wonderful clients. We all heard about Cheryl Andrews. Cheryl, you have challenged me, given me jobs that I never should have deserved, and somehow we pull it off.
Yes, but you always said yes.
Yes, I did always say yes. And finally, I want to thank the Chamber, the membership, the dinner committee, the sponsors of tonight's event, and all of you for coming out. Thank you so much. It's great that you came out here to celebrate the hard work, dedication, and legacy of Jim and Becky Califf.
Before we do the last award of the year, I've got one more group of people to thank. I've been thanking people all night long, but this is the actual committee that made tonight possible. You can look at them on the back of the program. Maria Shute, Realtor, Remax on the Move.
Hey, Maria.
Katie Gill, First Seacoast Bank. Michelle Jones joined us this year. There's Michelle in the back. Thank you, Michelle. Jim Sunderland, my fellow guy on the committee. Suzanne McNeil. Thank you, Suzanne. Jillian Moore, she did the cake tonight. She figured that out. Louis again, Thrift Shop, the charity. Vanessa Riley, great member, Northeast Credit Union. Dawn Carlson, the Rochester Country Club. She's been around tonight. Thank you, Dawn. Great addition to the committee. We need you. Vicki Mowers, team assistant at Nickel Lake Golf Club. Christina, Myrina again, and Karen and I pitched in as well. So that's our committee. We'll get them all around. All right. So I wanted to talk about the Citizen of the Year, and I wondered how I should start this off talking about Jim and Becky, and I came to the decision that I should talk about them probably the way most of us talk about them and that or think of them. And that's really as a longtime customer of George Califf's Fine Foods. That perspective to me is real, because when you walk into the store, when I walked into the store when Jim and Becky were the owners there and running it, the store just had a Barrington vibe. It had a feel of a family business. Family businesses, you know, there's 10,000 or a little more around the country, but you know, George Califf's Fine Foods is our family business in our town to service us. And you walk in there and you had that sense. And why wouldn't you? Okay, Jim's behind the counter busy, Becky meets you with a smile, Race is doing something in the back or whatever, and it literally is a family business. Amy comes in once in a while, helps out with the cash register, and it just was a wonderful town experience walking in there. You might see a collection box for a local charity on the cash register. If it's fall, you might see a T-shirt hung up promoting the outlaw football game that's getting ready to take place. And you knew 3 weeks away. Oh yeah, promo. Okay, you're still doing it. Okay, be careful. It's full contact, right? Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Anyway, you just had this feeling about having a store that is there. The meat counter kind of made them famous. We talked about the turkeys and the Christmas hams, but the custom things that they did. Fred one time there made up for Karen and I for Easter. It's a rolled boneless leg of lamb. Inside it was spinach, feta, olives, all nice and ready to go. Thanks, Fred. Outstanding. Can't get that everywhere. Can't get that everywhere. And it's right here in our backyard. So we appreciate the store. And as a businessman, I appreciated their flexibility in going through the good times and bads. I remember the time when the store went through a renovation, and again, small space, but they made the business decision to do some renovations, make better use of the space, and they were always after it. They had that tenacity of just always doing something, always being there. And again, Jim is a co-citizen of the year, came up through Barrington. He took part in the BYA and later did all the things for the BYA as an adult and business person. He came through the school system, helped out the schools. Becky did during Race going through that. So it was really rewarding to me to see someone with a name like Califf and growing up in the town become the Citizen of the Year. And so congratulations. To tell us more about them and to give them his perspective, we're going to bring up a longtime friend of Jim and Becky's, our Fire Chief Rick Walker. So Rick, come on.
David kind of touched a little bit on, can everybody hear me? Yes. David kind of touched a little bit on, when you think about Barrington, Califf's, the Califf name is a natural with the town. Mary Califf started Califf's store back in the 1800s, and the Califfs were instrumental in doing a lot of things, helping to keep the town together. And that followed through when Jim's mom and dad decided to open their own store, and then Jim went along with them. So, when I think of Barrington, I think of Califf's because of the fact that they were so instrumental in the town for hundreds of years. But anyway, thank you, David, for giving me the chance to talk. I encourage all of you to sit back, grab a drink, and relax. When I was asked to introduce Jim and Becky tonight, David made it clear to me that I would keep my remarks brief. For those of you that know me, I think 1 hour is brief. Truthfully, 1 hour is not enough time to speak of all that Becky and Jim have done in and for the town of Barrington. Thankfully, I listened to David, and I pared my remarks down to about 57 minutes, if I talk fast. I spoke briefly. Jim grew up in a family that's always been known to give back to the community. His grandparents very instrumental in the store and doing things for the town when there was, 1,000 people here. His grandfather was a longtime member of the fire department. His dad was a longtime member of the fire department, so that naturally meant that when there was a fire in town, Jim got to go, long before he had his license. Couldn't get away with that today, but back in the day we could. So he's jumped on the truck with his grandfather, his father, and help out whenever he could. Jim began to learn the family business by working in Kayla's country store as a teenager. And then as time moved on, his parents opened George Kayla Fine Foods, and he did whatever needed to be done to help the family business run smoothly. In 1987, while Jim was working, a young lady by the name of Becky stopped in the store and caught his eye. Over time, as she continued to visit the store, Jim would find any excuse to talk with her. Around this same time, Jim had decided that it was time to strike out on his own and build his own house. So one day, Jim happened to mention to Becky that he was preparing to build a new home. Oh, did I mention Becky sold kitchen cabinets at the time? So, did Becky really catch Jim's eye, or was Jim looking for a deal?
It knows me too well.
At any rate, Jim soon asked Becky out on a date, and she accepted. Eventually, after a few years of dating, she accepted Jim's marriage proposal, and they were married in 1990. For the record, Jim did not end up buying cabinets from Becky. Soon after their marriage, Becky joined Jim working in the family business until 1992, when their son Race was born. In around 1991, soon after getting married, Jim began coaching with the BYA, which soon landed him a place on the BYA Board of Directors. With this came more responsibility that included ordering, delivering, and stocking the food for the BYA concession stands. Soon Becky became interested in natural health and beauty products. Becky began to make these products at home, sold them online and at the family business. As this side business took off in popularity, she got busy enough to have Jim helping her on his days off. Never one to say no, Becky and Jim donated many of their products to various fundraisers in the area. Around 2004, with Race now a teenager, Becky went back to helping out the store as needed. This soon took on a bigger role, and she found herself working full-time. Around 2006, with Jim's parents getting older and looking to slow down from the many years of running the store, a plan was hatched for Becky and Jim to take over the store. Jim was absolutely convinced that by taking over the store, he could set his own hours, and if he played his cards right, only have to work half days. The plan worked fabulously, and all Jim had to decide was which 12 hours he wanted to work. Soon, Jim and Becky, with some gentle prodding from Police Chief Conway, began helping out with the food pantry. From the shadows, they took whatever. They looked for ways to stretch the pantry's food dollars, collected donations at the store, stocked shelves, and helped to make sure things were ready for holiday baskets, all the while working full-time in the family business. In late 2017, Jim, Peter Cook, and Kevin Knight hatched a plan to prepare for the tricentennial celebration in 2022, with high hopes that it would be a memorable town event. Soon a committee was formed, and the ideas began to flow. Meetings were held, and a core group of residents began planning this celebration. Things were getting busy. All the while, Becky and Jim were working many hours. So, just kind of, I'm going to get off track a little bit, but we started coming up with all these really big ideas of things that we were gonna do for the tricentennial celebration. And I'm sitting back going, let's see, Jim works Sunday, Jim works Saturday. Most everything we're gonna do is on the weekends. How are we gonna pull this off? Little did I know that things were gonna work out for us. Jim and Becky still working many hours every day, keeping the family business running as smoothly as possible while struggling through the COVID pandemic and a shrinking workforce. Oh yes, did I mention through this, they were also preparing for the upcoming wedding of son Race and his longtime girlfriend Christy. Soon Becky and Jim began to discuss what retirement would look like for them, and in June of 2021, they sold the store and retired to a life of kicking back and watching the world ride by. Just kidding. Retirement meant that Jim could work nearly full-time on the tricentennial. And Becky, the ever faithful companion, was right beside him, doing anything she could to help make it succeed. I can't tell you some of the things that Jimmy had Becky doing behind the scenes to make this work. Fast forward to today, Race and Christy have blessed Becky and Jim with a healthy grandson, James, who they very much enjoy spoiling as only a grandparent can. And as the tricentennial celebration begins to wind down, I can't wait to see what these two take on next. I'm proud to call Becky and Jim friends. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly honored to introduce to you the 2022 Greater Barrington Chamber of Commerce Citizens of the Year, Becky and Jim Cale.
Thank you very much. This is truly an honor, very unexpected one. When David came to my house, I actually thought he was there to conduct business with my mother-in-law. When he handed me the list of past recipients, I glanced over it real quick, and like Rick, I knew every single person on the list. And one of the things I've noticed is that it met a criteria for me was when I was getting ready to retire, I wanted to leave and be the a non-grumpy grandpa. I didn't want to be an angry person, so I left before I went too far and got too angry and things like that. So I looked at the list, and people like Stan, he's a happy guy. Joel is amazingly happy. I don't know how he does it. I mean, he could be dead. We ought to check his pulse. He just does way too much. He's done more for this town than anyone that I know. Rick, he has to be happy. He's a fire chief and plays with his holes every day. So, who wouldn't be happy? I had him. That's what friends are. They always say that's what friends are for. And, yeah. But this was truly a great thing. Thank you very, very much. There's a few other people I'd really like to thank a lot. None of this would be possible without the people that I had working with us. Felice Vincelette right over here in the corner. My brother Fred, who I love more than anything. That's my brother by another mother. And the unsung hero of the group is my son Race. In 2000, he did everything. He was the glue that kept it all together. He doesn't think he did, and there were sometimes I didn't think he did, but looking back on it all, in 2019, my kidneys failed, and I was diagnosed with lymphoma, and I was in the hospital for a long time, and Race picked it up I left work and went in the hospital, and he picked it up, kept us out of bankruptcy. We actually had a very good year. And I was out of work for a long, long time. He's the true hero. We wouldn't be accepting this award if it wasn't for someone like Race and Fred and Felice. Thank you guys. Now, my beautiful wife Becky has to say some things. I am not a public speaker. None of us.
So, oh
years, we missed a lot. And I want to thank everyone in our family who understood that we wanted to be there, but couldn't necessarily. But
We picked
that
about
was
12
that
hours.
was my big one. Yeah. The 12 hours was, everybody else was sleeping. But anyway, thanks Fred. Amy for picking it up when we needed help. That was huge. She came in, my sister came in and helped us when we were, help! We need help. Amy, our niece Amy, she came in and she was working with us early on for a while, and Austin as well. They stayed on after George and Arvilla left. So Christy came in and worked with COVID, when they shut down her salon and everybody's salons. She came in and worked with us. It was great. A big family affair. And Fred, you retired how many times? And I lost track. And we loved having you come back every time.
It's always open for Fred.
Yes, yeah, but thank you all. And it was Federal Savings, but First Seacoast Bank, you guys feel like family. We're always there for us, and smiling faces and all. Everybody, just thank you so much. We love you all.
Okay, the Sharp Brothers are going to be coming back in just a moment to kind of sing us out of the evening. I wanted to give a short closing remark and remind people here at the table, work it out, but the centerpiece, the part that's the plant, the herb, figure out who takes it home. That part can go home with somebody. So there are special herbs. There are a reminder of Becky Maid's herbs and spices. So leave the base, leave the lights, leave the record, just the pot we're talking about. So those are up for grabs. And the flag, everything can be part of that. Lanyards too, could you please give the chamber back the lanyards? We reuse these every year, so if you wouldn't mind giving those back. My closing remarks relate to something that is trying to tie in the theme of the night, which is rocking to the tune of the community. Tina was talking about things that make you happy and what you needed to do in life to be happy. I was reading over some things at work recently. There was a survey that Edward Jones did in cooperation with a third party, and it was kind of focusing on what were the major areas for people in life to feel like they're, optimally well, that they're doing very well and they're well. And it wasn't called a happy survey, but it kind of, the more I read about the survey and how it was, how it turned out, it kind of made sense to me that it might be thought of as a happy survey. And so, not surprisingly, at the top of the chart for people was health. People want to live a healthy life, mentally, physically, and be well in that healthy sense of the word. The second thing that came, which is really one of 4 pillars that are kind of intertwined about going through life and being happy, is having family and friends. And family and friends that you love and that love you back. And the fourth thing, not the third thing, was the finance. So the financial picture of people and building for a nest egg and having financial freedom was 4. The third thing people talked about most in these 4 pillars to tie into our theme tonight was having a purpose in life. And raising a family, having children, grandchildren, providing for them certainly gives people purpose. Work in life, professional, whatever kind of work it is, hand to work, heart to God, and lots of things that you do can give you satisfaction in that way. And that's the part that kind of ties into our theme tonight to end the program. The community's out there. The community's out there for us to take a look at. And people can have hobbies, people can travel and find purpose that way. But there's a community out there, and we heard tonight, it's a challenge out there for us to jump on the tune, to really open our minds and open our hearts and hear the beat and rock out to the tune of Community. Thanks for coming, everyone.